you started up with Zigbee mostly. What was the first device you added to your home? Do you remember? You're like, this is cool. This is smart home stuff.
Yeah. It's a question. What was the first thing that I did that was cool, or what was the
Yeah,
first?
the first smart device you added to your home. Do you remember what it was? And that
Yeah. It,
triggered you, maybe. I don't know.
it was a Smart Things door sensor, and I still use their door sensor. It's actually a Zigbee door sensor that's on my doors and stuff like that. And the original Smart Things motion sensor. It was just like fat, like little, not little. It was a big motion sensor for what it is. But that thing, that I still use it, and that thing lasts, like the battery on there. The battery costs like, I don't know, like $5 or $10 or something like that. That's not cheap, but it lasts like 2 years. Like it's pretty good, and it's in a high traffic area for me.
Still
So
good that those devices are around, by the way. Like, that's the cool thing
Mm.
about local stuff, right? It lasts forever, basically.
100%
Yeah.
until the device itself dies.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, and Phil, what about
Yes.
yours? I feel like it must be high tech, right? You're a web dev from trade. Like, this should be.
What are we doing? So, how about I give you the origin story? How would I give you that? We'll do it. All right. So, I started. What was the first device I ever added to my home? When I was living with my parents, I would have been 17, 16. I would have maybe 17, cut a job, get some money. I'm like, I had my own TV in the little spare living room we had. And they had these nice lights my parents had next to the TV. And I wouldn't it be cool? Like, it looks better when the lights are on. I don't like the overhead lights. I want those lights on. How do I get those lights to turn on when my TV turns on? And the first device I ever found was an X10
Yeah, same.
infrared receiver and an X10 smart switch. So I bought those, and when I had programmed it so that then I got a Harmony remote control, and as part of the activity, it would then send a signal to the X10 receiver to turn on the lights and the TV at the same time. So that was my first like light bulb moment. Like, wow, like I can turn on lights and the TV. Imagine if I could hook this up to a computer and run the whole house, right? Like, because then, like, I was looking at other gadgets, right? There's sensors, door sensors, window sensors. Wow, like I was like, yes, this is the path I want to go down. Fast forward, maybe a few years longer than I should have lived at home. But once I eventually moved out of home and got my own place, I was renting in Australia. Now, rental laws in Australia are a lot more strict in Europe. You only get 12-month leases, no guarantee that you get to stay more than 12 months. Electricity rules in Australia are a lot more strict. You can't go can't go replacing switches. Everything has to be above code. So I had a lot of Philips Hue bulbs in fittings. And that was probably, my first modern smart home device would be Philips Hue bulbs. I had the Zigbee hub from Philips Hue. I then wanted to be able to control them. I had a random Kickstarter that wasn't really ideal. It was Windows-based, and it just wasn't. And I was looking at Home Assistant on the side. I'm like, I should just go there, but I've put this money in. I sunk this money in the Kickstarter. It'll come good. Nah, stuff it. Let's go Home Assistant. And I'm like, stuff it. I'm going to blog about it. And then I had a Synology NAS lying around, and I was like, oh yeah, that's got Docker on it. I know Docker. Let's spin up Home Assistant on Docker. And at that time, it was a bit tricky to get Home Assistant on Synology working well. So I created a blog post, and then I think I got famous from that blog post. Right, everyone was my blog just went nuts from people watching that. And then I had some ideas for home automation. I created the not so binary presence detection for my blog, and that got smashed. Everyone's like, I know you. You're that guy that created that. Yeah, that's me. That's me. So yeah, I'm now running Home Assistant on my dad's old i5 Lenovo desktop PC,
Nice.
which was running Windows. I've just stripped it, running Ubuntu as a server. It does the job. It's running Home Assistant, Z-Wave, JS, ZHAs through there. I didn't want to go out and buy a NUC or anything. I couldn't justify the money.
So
I wanted to reuse the hardware.
So you run the Docker stack, right?
Yes. Yep.
Ron, how do you run it, actually?
Docker. Sorry. Now well, it's a combination. So stuff like Z-Wave.js and some of the voice elements I've offloaded into my Docker stack. Home Assistant itself is running on a yellow.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.